If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Thursday, February 14th, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. Jack Conger will join us in a few seconds in the Finis Monitor to talk about his stellar weekend in the pool at the DC Metro Championships. The senior at Good Counsel broke the 29-year-old national high school record in the 500 free and ended his high school career with an independent national mark in the 100 free. And he joins us now from his home in Rockville, Maryland. Hey, Jack, good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. It's been a few days since you broke those records. Have you come down from that high, or will it ever be possible to do that?
I definitely think I came down. It's sort of all sinking in now, and I'm able to pick out bits and pieces of that race that were really great and that were. So it was definitely a really cool experience. But I think that definitely the high's over, and just get back to the good old grind.
Well, guide us through the moments before that 500 free in terms of your level of nervousness and what was going through your mind.
Well, I was pretty nervous just because there was so much media attention towards me for that one race. So I definitely knew it was a lot of pressure, but then again, I realized that the only pressure that anyone can put on you is yourself. So that kind of helped me calm down, and I had to realize that, and I had to realize that I put in all the work, and it was just time for me to swim that race as best as I could, and I definitely think I could have gone faster if I was fully rested, but I can't really complain with 4:13.
Well, you just scared a lot of people to say that you went 4:13, not fully rested. I guess in terms of percentages, what was your level of rest?
Maybe 50 to 60. I don't think, personally, I don't think it was no near full rest. It was probably half just because I had Monday morning practice the week of. And we were still doing a good amount of yards on Wednesday. So, it's hard to drop for a 500, but then again, if I was fully tapered, I definitely think I could have done better.
What was behind that decision to not be fully tapered?
Just because, this isn't my ending of the season meet. It was kind of, it's a month out before juniors, which I'll be swimming more events, and I'll be swimming a lot more backstroke and fly. So we couldn't really drop down and drop full yards, as we knew that would affect juniors in a month or so. And then again, I don't think I'll rest fully for that, just because I think I'm going to get a full rest for World Champ Trials. And then I'm going to WUGS after that.
Well, that's a good explanation. Knowing that you weren't going to be fully rested, you were talking about the only expectation you put on yourself is yourself. Did you have any kind of concern that maybe, you may not be able to break the record on a half taper?
Well, it was sort of this. We got a little more rest last year, just because Metros was at a different time in correlation to juniors last year. And I knew that it was a month out here, so I knew that Sue would play around with the rest that I got. No, I mean, I knew that I would, in the back of my mind, that I could get that because I was only a second off, and I've watched my race so many times and tried to pick out pieces of that race that I can just do better. And I think that middle 100, I'm definitely gonna have to work on that. I'm still new in the 500, so to speak, in terms of racing it and high levels of competition. So I definitely think that I can work on that, and improvement will come along the way.
Well, you said you need to work on that 100. Something else that a lot of people have suggested you need work on is your turns in that 500. Our comment section, people were saying, if he just work on his turns, he could have gone 4:10. From what I could see from your turns, it was like you were doing the double breathing off the wall, kind of reminiscent of Sun Yang in the Olympics. Was that always part of the game plan to breathe like that off the walls?
Well, first off, my turns have never been pretty good. You know, I always have had trouble getting my feet over and flipping fast, but that's something that I've been working on this year, and I'll continue to work on uh, in my training. Um, you know, I never have really compared my breathing to Sue Young's just because I never consider myself a distance swimmer. Um, but now that Sue and I talked about it, it's something that I always do. If even in practice, if it's anything over 200. Um, and we think there's like a lot of studies shown that it helps you release the carbon dioxide in your system and helps take in that oxygen. So I think that could be an explanation why I personally just think it feels better when you're starting to feel that pain to take more breaths. And I don't know if it necessarily slowed me down. People may have their viewpoints on that, um, but I think I'm going to keep it just because I think it helps me.
And if it doesn't help, if it doesn't hurt Sun Yang, it couldn't really hurt you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so you came back to swim the 100 back. You didn't quite get the national record. Do you think the 500 took a little bit out of you?
Yeah, definitely. Just because it was such it was a really narrow gap in between the 500 and then the 100 back and then the 100 free. And we focused a lot on the 500 for a couple weeks coming before leading towards taper, and so we kind of backed off on my back training and really narrowed in on my 500. So I think that also affected it. You know, definitely the 500 was really, really close to it, so that definitely affected it. It was disappointing, just because I've gone so much faster in the past, but I necessarily didn't work that whole thing. Um, you know, I was trying to save my legs a little bit for that 100 free leading off. And I know that there's definitely parts of that race that I could do a lot better, which is my legs weren't into it fully. Um, so, I mean, it was disappointing, but at the same time, you know, I have another meet to do that 100 back at, so it's okay.
Well, how were you able to bounce back from, as you said, the disappointment of not doing well in that 100 backstroke to go 42.8 in that 100 free?
Um, I sort of had as much as I was hurting, I sort of had to realize, you know, that was my last high school race. And you know, I wanted to, you know, go off with a bang, and I really had to, you know, ride off that crowd and all that energy and just, you know, I was splitting 42 high, 42 mid in relays, so I was pretty confident that I could do it from a flat start just because I was rested a little bit and had a suit on, and it was the end of the meet. So, you know, I knew it was going to hurt, but I tried using my legs as much as I can and not breathing out of my turns, and touched at 42.8.
It's pretty impressive, Jack. And the day since, have you been able to talk to Eddie Reese, your future coach at Texas, about your swims?
Yes, I called Eddie on Sunday, and he was pretty pleased, and I told him I was disappointed, and he sort of chuckled a little bit. But you know, there's many more meets for me to swim, but he was definitely really happy with how I did and my performance.
Yeah, I think, you know, overall, yeah, you weren't fully tapered. You know, you had some things to work on. But, I mean, you got to think about this. Jeff Kostoff's record lasted for 29 years. I mean, it's got to give you a sense of accomplishment that knowing that, you know, people who were established 500 swimmers, distance swimmers, weren't able to do it, but that you were able to do it. I mean, it just shows a lot of hard work that you're able to put into that.
Yeah, I know that many distance swimmers have taken cracks at that race, but you know, I don't train as a sprinter. I train. I range from sprinting to mid to distance, but most of my work is ranges from mid distance to distance. You know, we usually in hard training we do at least like 8 to 9,000 per practice, at least at night in the morning. You know, they vary. But you know, so I definitely do a lot of yards. So I knew that. If I got a little rest, I wouldn't really have a problem with coming back in that race at all.
So you're getting ready for juniors, which will be next month. So you're going to be doing some different events. Must be happy to know that you can kind of shake things up now. It won't be just all middle distance freestyle training.
Yeah, definitely. Yesterday we definitely started working on my backstroke again, and even this morning too. But definitely, I mean, I enjoyed training middle distance, and I'm sure I'll be doing some of that next year too. But I do like to mix it up, and juniors will be fun in a month. I can't wait.
When you and Sue are training, do you ever give any kind of input on, say, on a Wednesday afternoon, you're like, I feel like doing some sprint today, and she might kind of throw some in, or is it pretty much everything's all set in stone?
A good amount of it's set in stone. Monday we usually do a test set, and Tuesday we split up the team, and it's sprint, mid D, and distance. And I don't really think it's sprint because we still do a lot of yards. But normally I'm in that group, and I mean, I'm sure if I wanted to say, can I swim mid distance today, she wouldn't have a problem with that. And then today is usually stroke or IM day, and sometimes if I don't want to do IM and I'll ask to do backstroke, she'll let me. Sometimes she won't. So yeah, I have a little input say, but a lot of it are sets that she's already had planned out, and I'm fine with that. I'm good with that, and I trust it.
Well, you're going to be going to your last juniors for representing Rockville Montgomery Swim Club. I'm sure it's going to be a pretty emotional meet for you.
Yeah. I think it definitely will be, and I'm really looking forward to going and seeing the times I can put out. We have a good team this year, and I'm excited to see what we're all going to do.
Yeah, we're all excited too, Jack. We'll be there. We'll definitely be following you, and best of luck to you down there in Orlando.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you down the road. And that was Jack Conger joining us today in the Finis Monitor, and that's going to do it for today's edition of the Morning Swim Show. As always, you can get all the latest swimming news on swimmingworld.com as well as on our Facebook and Twitter pages. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.